Right, before we get started, guys, I just wanted to quickly show you this new CP slottable. Well, it's not new CP. This CP slottable for this patch has been updated and adjusted. So, cutting defense has had an adjustment this patch, which makes it actually really, really useful for tanks. Now, the reason why is because you deal magic damage to attackers whenever they damage you with direct damage attacks within 7 meters. This effect scales off your max health, so the damage scales off your max health. It can activate your weapon enchantments and poisons. Now, the reason why this is important for tanks is, let's say you've got your front bar enchant, and it's really, really inconsistent maintaining the uptime on that. Using cutting defense now actually increases the uptime of that. So if you're on a Dragon Knight using a poison enchant with a charged weapon, and you're trying to get that sustain, this is going to be proccing it really, really frequently. Like, more often than it would do, usually. If you're on a tank, maybe running Elemental Catalyst, and you don't want to run Shock on the back bar, you could potentially run Shock on your front bar now, because you'd be able to proc it with Cutting Defense, Taunt, Heroic Slash, Light Attacks, Heavy Attacks. You'd be able to actually benefit from that now, and keep it up with a good uptime, because you can proc it even when you're not on your, when you're not doing anything. If you proc it before you bar swap, then you're going to still be able to maintain the uptime of it. So, cutting defense is actually benefiting people who stand there and block and don't really cast too often. It's really good for me in some really high damage trials where there's high blocking situations. So, Barsai hard mode, I'm blocking a lot. In Rock Grove. Blocking a lot. So, we're going to proc cutting defense. We're going to proc really, really easily all the time. The thing that I've removed for this is unassailable, so it reduces your damage taken by area effect attacks by 2% per stage. That's 10%. There's not many situations where we take a lot of AoE damage as a tank, so I think like some of the bigger hits, even if we take a 10k AoE hit, this is only going to reduce it down to 9k, which is not going to be noticeable for a tank. So I've removed unassailable for cutting defense in a lot of situations now where we are getting some extra procs of our weapon enchant. So this is going to benefit you a lot, guys. If you don't cast a lot, if you want to be able to maintain your enchants on your weapons a little bit easier, slot cutting defense as one of your CP slottables. That's going to auto proc some of your weapon enchants. So there you go. That is the update to cutting defense for this patch. That was updated for Deadlands, and it's now really, really useful actually. It won't proc you like your back bar enchant if you're on your front bar. But like if you've got your blockade down and you stand blocking on your front bar, it's going to proc your front bar enchant. Do you know what I mean? And like, if you think about your front bar enchant, so I'm going to say this one, Absorb Stamina. I've got Infused Absorb Stamina. How often am I actually proccing that? Well, I'm proccing it when I taunt. If I only taunt once every 15 seconds, then that's not enough because your enchant can proc every 4 seconds. So then I'm actually losing loads of stamina by not proccing it on cooldown, whereas by using cutting defense, I can actually benefit from that consistent source of stamina on cooldown, which I couldn't do before because I wasn't casting skills often enough, potentially. But now you can. So what I'm saying is if you are using, if you're not casting often enough to keep your enchants procced on cooldown, then now you can. The reason this is also a good option for things like double frost staff builds, because now, for example, you can still run like an infused crusher back bar, and when you're on your front bar with your frost glyph, you can all block, and it's going to just proc it. Like there's lots of different things that are going to really help. And if you're on a double frost staff build and you're trying to get minor breach, you're going to use a charged absorb stamina enchant on your front bar. That's going to proc minor breach with like a 78% uptime just by blocking. So there's lots of benefits to using this now. Lots of benefits to using cutting defense. So definitely something you should look at for this patch, guys. If we just look at like a raid situation, the actual use of cutting defense CP. So this is a 7-minute fight. Cutting defense procced 155 hits. And this means that my absorb stamina enchant procced 83 times. So that's absolutely insane when you look at that. So we're doing 100k of our damage came from the actual cutting defense CP, which meant the absorb stamina incoming, so we gained so much stamina because of cutting defense. Because that's the enchant proccing. 82 times. Absolutely crazy. So, if you needed any more kind of evidence to use cutting defense blue CP, then this is pretty much it. So it's just proccing so often.